I think that Mr. Wolf, over 27 years, has been working on a lot of our concerns, but I feel that, and I hear from people all over the district, that we want fundamental change. We can think about whether our transportation is working the way it needs to be. I will tell you and share with you, we all know that it really isn't. We need to move forward in transportation, so as my new Democratic delegate, Margie Vanderhyde, says, we can be somewhere instead of always struggling to get somewhere. We're talking about health care issues today, and we know that our health care system is failing many of us. I do not think that after 27 years, Mr. Wolf is ready to deliver on the 5 principles that I put forward, the 5 goals that I'm going to enact to get everybody universal coverage. When we go down every issue that we face, I think we know, and we hear it from all our friends in our communities throughout the district, we need fundamental change. And to get fundamental change, we need new leadership. I'm running to bring that leadership.
I so want this question in about a month and a half. The most common comment I hear about Congressman Wolf is he's a really good guy and he's got great constituent services. Well, we're all good guys, so we'll take that as a given. That's the baseline. And what does it say about a 28-year Republican congressman that the best you can say about him after almost 3 decades in the U.S. House of Representatives is that he meets the minimum standard of a freshman congressman? He has great constituent services. Great. Judy, if she's elected, will provide great constituent services. I will provide great constituent services. Given. What does it say when you've got a county, Fairfax County, whose foreclosure rate has gone up 2,300% since 2005? It went up 500% between 06 and 07. And you just voted down a comprehensive housing bill that will solve many of those problems. What does it say when you take credit for an Iraq study group and then vote against every single one of its 79 recommendations? That's incoherent. That's not just bad, it's incoherent. Frank Wolf is a nice guy. He's tired. He's in the minority party. It's time for a change. What we need in the 10th District is a viable alternative. We need to offer Reagan Democrats and independents who have been voting for him for 20 years a viable, energetic, dynamic alternative with real, substantive ideas and a life experience of proven decision-making in high-stakes environments.
I think that it is an amazing thing and a sad thing that we had a failure of our electoral system and our ability to count votes, which is the bedrock of our democratic system in 2000, and it keeps on keeping on. It is astonishing to me that we were all up in arms and it went away, which is, I think, why we need to elect leaders who are going to deliver results. It wasn't so long ago, I think last year, or perhaps it was 06, in Maryland that we had a very substantial problem with an election that may have affected the outcome. I think that that electoral reform is critical, that we need to have a documented trail when we vote, that pushing that button and not knowing what happens is just not good enough. So I believe that in order to have an accountable system, we need to have a trail, and so that we really can make sure that it is one person, one vote, every place in this country.
Mike?
Well, I'm glad I get to give you the good news part of my opening comments, which I ran out of time to give. The good news part of the worst national governance in 7.5 years is that we have now seen the absolute worst that politics as usual gives us. Now we know what the basement is. We've defined the bottom floor. And as we climb back up out of this pit, which politics as usual kicked us into, we have to be pretty well assured that politics as usual is not going to get us out of the pit. If ever there was a time, 2008 is telling us, rethink everything. The 2000 election started the process. And here we are, 8 years later, and now we know why. Now we know why politics as usual doesn't work. And that's on all of us here in this room. It's on all of us in this congressional district, and it's on all of us in this nation. what does the new politics mean? What do we mean by get rid of politics as usual? Well, that's for us. I can tell you one of the basic precepts of it. Get engaged. Be involved. Be a part of the process. Pay attention to what's going on. The 2000 election was stolen because voters weren't paying attention. When you see an election where Diebold machines with no paper trail pop up all over the precinct, ask why. Ask what we can do to fix that. Go down to your local party and get engaged. This congressional election is so vital. If we anoint candidates, if we go into the polling place after 6 months of being on autopilot and elect someone simply because everyone told you that was the person who should get elected because they've been here before, or that's who we think is going to raise the most amount of money and automatically ought to be put into office, then shame on us, because we've seen what that causes. And it's our chance this year to change that formula. And I don't know how that change starts unless it's not with the people in this room.